Hi everybody, it's Ezra Levant here again. I'm the president of rebelnews.com. I did a live stream about an hour ago where I was somewhat despondent after the knowledge that all our tremendous efforts, retaining a great number of lawyers and other advocates to help secure Anna Slatz's release from jail in New York, were fruitless. That Anna had been released from custody without our knowledge or involvement. That our lawyers were on standby waiting for a trial that had already happened. I felt despondent because we had put so much energy into it, and I thought that for sure Anna herself would be deeply disappointed in our uselessness, as indeed I myself was. We had thought about very little other than Anna's well-being since she was arrested almost 30, 40 hours ago. She called me from jail, told me simply where she was and roughly what she was arrested for, and relied on me to do the rest. And so I thought, well, I'm going to do what we always do when a rebel reporter's in trouble. We're going to pull out all the stops. And we did indeed. Not just with lawyers on the case, but also involving the Canadian consulate in New York, which actually was quite helpful. To my delight, the Committee for the Protection of Journalists also weighed in on the matter, which was wonderful. But I was depressed when she was released, not because she was released, I was thrilled by that, but by the realization that all our work had been fruitless. I showed you the tweet, if you can put it back up again, that Anna tweeted when she went to pick up her property. Of course, when you're arrested and put in a holding facility, the police take your property. And she put this tweet up: "Boy, do I have a story for you. Please give me a few to catch my bearings, get to a hotel and speak to my family. Yes, my glasses are broken. That's part of the story, babes." I read that and I thought, oh, I'm depressed. Obviously, she doesn't even want to talk to us because we were so useless. She must be so mad. I don't blame her for wanting to talk to her family. And I was quite sad that we had failed her. I'll be honest, it's exactly how I felt. In fact, I still do feel that way somewhat. But she just called me and then the phone flickered out, so I called her right back. And we had a great 10-minute conversation. And my own impressions of how things went were very different than her impressions. And I'm going to let her tell her story herself, believe you me. And she's got quite a story to tell. So I'm not going to steal any of her thunder. But really what I want to do here is correct the impression I left in my last video. The last video I did, I was deeply upset that we were so useless. And I say that because we tried 100 things, and none of them, it was like we were pushing against the wrong wall. That was the wall. We were pushing against that wall. We were so proud of ourselves. That's the wall that she just walked through. That's how it felt. It felt useless and felt like we let her down. That's how it felt. It still feels that way a bit, frankly. But she said, Ezra, there was so much shenanigans, it's not a surprise to me. You know, the clerk told our third lawyer, oh, we screwed up, so sorry. Anna says there are people in that holding facility who've been there for 7 days without a hearing, without an arraignment. She says, and again, I'm not looking to tell her story. I just want to give you a few points from her telling to me that made me feel better about, I felt like we had dropped the ball. She said there were shenanigans, there was bending or breaking the rules, there were people 7 days without a hearing. She said there was someone in the holding facility who looked 12 years old. She said there was a nurse in full scrubs. She said she gave me one example, I'll just repeat it. She says there was women on their menstrual cycle who weren't being given hygienic equipment. She said it was really the conditions were awful. There was no bed, of course. But she said the people in there were very nice. I was worried that there would be some really rough people in there. That's not what she said. I mean, there was nowhere to sleep. But she said the people were nice. In fact, she thought that they were arresting the gentle people and not the difficult people. That's what the impression she gave me. She said that there was lots of misinformation where, when, how the procedure went. So she left me with the sense that perhaps our lawyers did not drop the ball. Perhaps they were misled, as the clerk told lawyer number 3, oh, sorry, we screwed up bigly. Well, maybe every single case was screwed up on purpose. So I have to say, she sounded much better than I thought she would. In my mind, she would have been much lower in spirits and angry, Now, she was frustrated by what she went through, and she was mad about how she was treated. But she was just delighted to be out. She said she knew that we had gone to the mat for her, and that's why I was her first call from the jail. And yeah, I don't want to go on too long. I want to let her tell her story herself. But I found my phone call with her very much a relief, because I had felt like I had let her down. And she said she didn't feel that way. And she pointed out that there was a lot of trickery on the part of the jail. Okay, that made me feel better. In fact, she even talked about, I said, how could we have missed you? We had Yankee Pollock and lawyer number 3 stationed at that same facility. How could we have missed you when you walked out the door? Like, we were there. We were there. In fact, maybe I have in fact, the lawyers kept sending me photos of the lawyer and of Yankee there. So how did we miss her? She walks out the building. Well, it's a huge building. It's a huge building, and there are 2 main doors. But she said they released her out like some sneaky back door, like a minor back door. That's how we missed her. Like, we were standing there. We had Yankee standing there, and we had a lawyer standing there. So that's how we missed her. So she's going back to the hotel. I had called the hotel and extended her stay by a day, because today was going to be her checkout day. So I called down, I extended her stay. Yeah, I put Yankee in a room at the same hotel, extended his stay. I just sent a note to Yankee saying, do whatever Anna tells you, run any errands for her. She probably wants a nap, and I said, take her out to wherever she wants to go to eat. I don't know if anything's open. Maybe you have to go to a restaurant in a hotel somewhere. I said, money's no object, give the girl a nice meal. Oh, it looks like Yankees made a tweet. I'm standing next to, yes, that Anna. She's in good spirits and has a story to tell. Okay, good. And then he links to the, okay, so good. It looks like Yankee has connected with Anna. Now, that's a generic photo from our website, saveannaslatz.com. Okay, good. So there you have it. It just is the same moment I have it. The Yankee has connected with Anna. I presume they're back at the hotel. I think lawyer number 3 is at the hotel too, and I sent a message to lawyer number 3. I said, can you give Anna at least a briefing of what we were doing, even though it was useless? Can you just tell her? Can you just tell her all the things we did? And he's a great guy. Well, you know who lawyer number 3 is. I interviewed him on the show yesterday. Michael Weinstock, just a really nice man. First Amendment supporter, which makes him number 1 in my books. So that's about it. There is a story to tell, and Anna told me about it on the phone, but it's hers to tell, and I'll let her tell it. She's in better spirits than I thought she would be, better spirits than I would have been in. She says that the shenanigans at the jail were not likely because of our own lawyers, but rather because of shenanigans and perhaps even malfeasance on the part of the jailers. Now, that might just be jailhouse gossip amongst the people in the holding cells. It might be true also. Like I say, the clerk told lawyer number 3 that they had screwed up royally. So I think I got a few super chats. Let me read them. I don't intend to stay on particularly long. Let's read what the super chats say. Raging Old White Hobbit, $5. Anna Slatz is a Marxist who is a member of the Communist Party of BC. I got news for you. I know that Anna's a Marxist. I know. That's not news to me. So you're thinking, Ezra, what's a Marxist doing in Rebel News? You guys are not for Marxism. You guys are for free enterprise and property rights. Yeah. Here's what I like about Anna, and I think you like it about her too. Number 1, a free speech aficionado, more than most, very, very pro-free speech. That's like me. Number 2, she's a skeptic of the transgender agenda. So, for example, she's been a leading critic of Jonathan Yaniv. You know who I'm talking about, the guy from BC, the wax my balls guy? She's been a leading critic of his, and in fact helped us in our journalism on him. She is sympathetic to minority communities like Black Americans, and has the attention to detail to note that violent AntiFur gangs infiltrate peaceful protest and hijacked them. Isn't that true in the last week? Would you not agree with me on that? That there were well-meaning, peaceful protests. You may disagree with them, but they were peaceful and they looked like they were in good faith. And then, who delivered the pallet of bricks? Who delivered the stones? Who showed up in the head-to-toe black face mask, gloves, and a smashing tool? That's not a peaceful protester. That's a hardcore AntiFur. So in fact, if you know, if you look, can you put up stopantifa.com? We were putting all of Anna's videos up on a compilation page called what? Stopantifa.com. There it is, Stop Antifa. That is Anna's compilation page on our website. Now, the fact that Anna is a Marxist is interesting and curious, especially for Rebel News. But this is how it manifests. She wants to stop Antifa. Are you not with her on that? Are you not with her on free speech? Are you not with her on defending feminist and female interests against transgender? Do you like it when you have a women's sporting event and on the podium, on the winner's podium, you got 1, 2, and 3, and it's transgender athletes pushing the women out of there? So that's Anna Slatz. I tell you, I agree with every word of that, don't you? Let me read some more super chats. TrueBD44, $20. Well, thank you very much. Raging Old White Hobbit, $5. She weaponized Donald Smith and threw him under the bus when he went to jail for 39 days. I don't know who Donald Smith is, so I'll have to look that up. I think I have a photo. You know what? I'm in real time. I'm getting information from Anna, and as I mentioned, Yankee is with her, and so is lawyer number 3, who we've interviewed, Michael Weinstock, and I just sent you a photo that Michael Weinstock sent me. Do you want to put it on the screen? So that's Anna and Yankee on the streets. And let me read a note that just accompanied it. There's Yankee having fun. I got so many screens open here. Yankee says she wants to continue reporting and ready to go on the streets again. And Michael Weinstock says, I just had a lovely chat with Anna. Despite everything that she's been through, her spirits are surprisingly optimistic. And she is very appreciative of everyone's combined efforts to get her released sooner. She has her paperwork, blah, 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 legal strategy moving forward. I won't get into that. We're obviously going to help her. But let me read that one more time. You know what? That puts me in such good... I was very down in the dumps when I did my live stream an hour ago. Because I looked at what we had done and I thought, what a failure. Not just that, but boy, we held ourselves, we're fighting hard. Yeah, and it amounted to a hill of beans. But let me read that one more time. That makes me feel good. And if you are someone who has chipped in to SaveAnnaSlatz.com, by the way, when I was on the phone with her, I said, all the surplus from that, we're giving it to you as a danger pay bonus. Let me read this again. So this is from Michael Weinstock, the lawyer we talked to yesterday. Can you find his page where he's a firefighter? He's a 9/11 firefighter. He's a first responder on 9/11. I'm getting calls. That's probably from the lawyer right there. I don't want to take that call from a lawyer live on air. There may be some conversation that's privileged or whatnot, so I don't want to talk about that. Here's what, I'm getting lots of messages here because Anna has contacted Yankee and lawyer number 3, Michael Weinstock, is there, and they're talking, Yeah, there he is. So that's him. He was a 9/11 fireman, and then he became a lawyer, and then he became a prosecutor, and now so that's an old picture of him, older picture. I don't think that's from 9/11 itself, actually. And he's running for Congress. He's running for the third, yeah, there he is with another New Yorker. I wonder who that is. There he is with the Pope, I think. So he's running for Congress, and he's a free speech activist. Thanks very much, that's great. So, great lawyer, great First Amendment booster. So here's what that lawyer who's running for Congress, by the way, here's what he wrote to me a minute ago. And I read this, but I'm going to reread it one more time because it makes me feel better. I just had a lovely chat with Anna. Despite everything that she's been through, her spirits are surprisingly optimistic, and she's very appreciative of everyone's combined efforts to get her released sooner. And then he has a comment about paperwork. All right. Well, I feel better, and I hope you do too, because we did what we thought would help. In the end, it didn't help, but I think it made a moral difference, if that's worth anything. All right, let me see if there's any more questions or comments coming in. It's been a very strange time, and we like to cover the news, but every once in a while we become the news, not on purpose. We didn't want Anna to be arrested, but she was. And we didn't want to, we just wanted her released quickly, but she wasn't. But I wanted just to add this little note to the whole story, because the last note I left you with was very depressed. This note is more optimistic, as Michael Weinstock says. So that's it. I think I'll wrap it up there. Thank you again to everyone who donated to SaveAnnaSlatz.com. Actually, what I should tell you, and I don't have the exact paperwork in front of me, it was not a dispositive hearing on the substance of the charges against her. What I mean by that is, she didn't have the trial for what she's charged with. She's been released, but there will be another court moment. And we will engage with lawyers now on Anna's behalf to get those charges dismissed, get them dropped, fight them, whatever. It's our instinct to fight everything. Obviously, Anna is the client for the lawyers, but it's our general approach to fight everything. But that will be another day. The main purpose was get her out of jail. So I had a 10-minute call with her. I felt great about it. Michael Weinstock obviously had a conversation with her. He was impressed by her positive spirits. Yankee just sent me that photo I showed you. He said she wants to get right back out there. I don't know how, because she can't have had 3 hours sleep per night, if that. Sleeping on a metal bench, how do you even do that? Well, that's Anna Slatz. One more super chat, I'll read it quickly. DJ Zeno, new viewer, just found out she's Marxist. Holy crap, guys, I'm honestly so proud, for lack of better words, of you guys for being true to your message. Good on you, practice what you preach. Listen, I don't invite Anna Slatz on to give me economic essays. I don't even know what her economic views are. I know I first met her through the transgender Jonathan Yaniv matter, and she was a great help to us. Then I learned about her free speech commitment. I'm impressed. And her opposition to AntiFur as a violent gang. Sorry, do you need anything more than that? If you told me she was a vegetarian, if she told me she was a Zoroastrian, if she told me she was a Scientologist, what would I care? Maybe she is all those things. Oh, I also know her position on the Rohingya in Burma, and she's the only other person who shares my views on that, which is that the Rohingya Muslims in Burma are the aggressors as much as they are the aggressed, and that Aung San Suu Kyi should not be demonized for her handling of that crisis. Now, maybe you don't know what the heck I'm even talking about, but I support her views on that, or another way might be she supports mine, or we have the same opinion. So I don't care. I mean, Tarek Fatah, buddy of mine, he calls himself a Marxist. I don't even know what that means. I've never asked him a thing about economics in my life. To me, he talks about radical Islam and how to fight against it, and secularism in India. So that's my answer to that. Raging Old White Hobbit, how much of the Rebel Media donations are you giving to Anna Slatz, the Marxist? You're mad about that. Well, it's exactly what I've said from the beginning. We're going to pay the bills. And if there's a surplus, I'm going to give it to Anna as a danger pay bonus. If you don't want to give it to her, don't give. But I've told you that from the very get-go. I said that 24 hours ago. Now, I got to tell you, it's not very likely we're going to have a surplus left on the legal bills. If you know how lawyers work, they sort of hoover everything up. But that's how that's going to work. All right. I didn't mean to go on so long. I just wanted to give you the good news. The good news is that Anna Slatz is out of jail. The bad news is we had nothing to do with it. But the better news is she still appreciates our efforts. And by our, I mean not just mine and the team here at Rebel News, but those are the donors who helped fund the legal uselessness. And as Yankee just tells us, she's ready to roll again. And I'm just so glad Yankee's down there. He's such a nice guy. And when I asked him to go down, he didn't hesitate for a second. In fact, he was practically running out of his house when I was on the phone with him. And he's been on a special mission down there. And so I'm very excited for him, and I know he's excited too. Okay, everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'm very grateful to you. And I'm going to sign off. I've got a show tonight at 8 p.m., which I recommend you watch because it is an interview with perhaps Canada's only free speech professor, law dean, author. Can you even think of a free speech, free press professor? I got him, and he's on the show tonight. All right, everybody, until tonight, on behalf of all of us here at Rebel World Headquarters, goodbye, and keep fighting for freedom.